What's up, Tenno? It's Tenno Prime, checking in from the orbiter. Today we're testing a powerful combo, Mirage Larkspur Prime and Nautilus Prime. I've been running this setup through Steel Path, and honestly, the damage output is insane. Let's see how this build performs. Especially now that with the new Archgun Arcanes, the Larkspur has become my favorite heavy weapon.
Mirage's first ability, Hall of Mirrors, creates 4 dazzling clones that copy her attacks. And when paired with the Larkspur, it looks absolutely insane. Each clone fires its own beam, multiplying the weapon's power across the room. With the augment, Hall of Malevolence, every kill boosts Mirage's clone damage even further.
I'm using Chroma's Subsume, Elemental Ward, aligned to Electricity. It gives me extra shields, boosts status chance, and adds a solid damage multiplier to me and nearby allies within 10 meters. Perfect for keeping Mirage tanky and lethal.
The third ability I'm using here is Eclipse to amplify the Larkspur's damage output. When it's active, the boost makes every beam hit harder, melting through high-level enemies on Steel Path.
Now I'm heading into a Mot Survival run, and I'm going to stay right in what I call the Circle of Death. It's the best way to test both tankiness and damage output. That's usually where I can tell if my build really holds up, or if I'll need to hit those life support towers sooner than I'd like.
I'll be staying here for about 30 minutes in Mot Steel Path Survival to really push this build to the limit. And at the end, I'll show you all the builds I used here in the Void.
Tenno operative just found. They could not do this without you. share in this bounty. Hold out as long as you can. longer you fight, the more successful we will be.
And so we learn the importance of clarity and purpose.
Let's take a look at the loot I got from this 31-minute mission. I really like running this mission because the enemies drop a lot of mods. It's one of my main sources of endo.
They drop a lot of bronze mods, which give me 5 endo each when I sell them, plus a good number of silver mods worth 10 endo, and a few gold ones that give 15 endo. In this mission alone, if I add up all the mods I got, that's around 1,345 endo, plus the 1,270 I earned directly from the mission reward, for a total of 2,615 endo, not counting the relics and resources I also picked up.
Mirage is a powerful frame, but she's a little squishy, so I had to mod her to survive in Steel Path. For the aura, I'm using Brief Respite, which converts energy spent on abilities into shields, a huge help for staying alive while spamming powers. Then I combined Adaptation, Primed Redirection, and Vigilante Jaeger for extra survivability.
Adaptation gives Mirage damage resistance every time she takes a hit. Primed Redirection increases for total shield capacity, and Vigilante Vigor boosts shield recharge speed while adding a small critical bonus to weapons. Finally, I'm running Arcane Barrier, which has a chance to instantly restore all my shields when I take damage. Together, this setup keeps Mirage surprisingly durable, even in Steel Path missions.
I'm using Umbral Intensify and Blind Rage for strength, and Primed Continuity for duration.
I'm using the Hall of Malevolence augment for Hall of Mirrors, since I'll be using that ability constantly. It increases the damage of Mirage's clones every time she or one of them gets a kill, making the ability stronger the longer you fight. I'm using Chroma's subsumed ability, Elemental Ward, with the electricity element. It gives Mirage extra shields, increases her status chance, and provides a small damage boost to nearby allies, great for adding survivability and extra power to this build. And I'm also using Eclipse to boost the Larkspur's damage. Every time Hall of Mirrors runs out, I recast these 3 abilities in sequence, 1, 2, and 3, to keep them active through the entire mission. That way, Mirage always has her clones, her electric ward, and her Eclipse damage buff working together for maximum power. For this run, I didn't use Prism. I wanted to focus entirely on testing the full potential of the Larkspur and see how far this setup could go without Mirage's ultimate ability. For my companion, I used Nautilus Prime with 2 important survivability mods, Accelerated Deflection and Shield Charger. Accelerated Deflection increases the shield recharge rate so Nautilus recovers much faster after taking hits, and Shield Charger gives both Nautilus and my Warframe extra shields at the start of every engagement, a small boost that really helps in Steel Path.
And of course, I used Cordon for its ability to group enemies together, perfect for maximizing damage.
For Nautilus Prime's weapon, I used the Verglas Prime with Viral and Heat. Viral helps cut through enemy health by reducing their maximum HP, and Heat adds damage over time while stripping armor. Together, they make the Verglas Prime melt enemies fast and support Mirage's Larkspur perfectly.
I used the Praetos melee weapon only for support, mainly for its evolution bonuses that increase sprint speed and parkour velocity. It helps me move faster, keep momentum, and stay mobile while using the Larkspur. And finally, for the Larkspur Prime build, I went with Viral and Heat damage, plus Magnetic and Radiation for extra versatility. I'm also using a Riven mod that adds bonus damage, critical chance, and critical damage, a really strong combination. Viral and Heat are great for health and armor melting, while Magnetic helps against shielded enemies, and Radiation tears through alloy armor and confuses targets. I'm running Primary Crux on my primary and Secondary Fortifier on my secondary. Primary Crux gives status chance and ammo efficiency on weak point hits, perfect for proccing Viral and Heat consistently. Secondary Fortifier is the survivability piece. It lets my secondary steal Overguard from enemies and massively boosts damage against enemy Overguard, so I build up a big Overguard buffer and stay safe. Here I'm showing you the stats for the build, but I just realized my Heat mod, Combustion Rounds, isn't maxed yet, so the build is actually going to be even stronger once I finish upgrading it. I'm going to max that mod to complete the setup and get the full damage potential out of the Larkspur Prime.
And that's it for today's run, Tenno. Mirage, Larkspur Prime, and Nautilus Prime. This setup was pure chaos, and the results speak for themselves. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own builds down in the comments. This is Tenno Prime from the Orbiter. Stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next video.